In this video, we're going to look at another aspect of efficiency. We shall examine whether or not it is more effective to have more than one staff member at a time on a task. Given that we allow a time discrepancy of plus or minus 30% before we start taking extra notice, obviously there is some variation under normal events. So for any examination of this sort to be meaningful, we need to have quite a number of records. So I've selected a full 3-month record, and these are actual records, and when we examine them we get some interesting results. So superficially looking at the results as we are, we find that we have a time average of 106%, that we have a grade average of 97.7%, which superficially seems not too bad, but we could be a bit disappointed with the 18.5% for those results where there have been in fact CARs. So we will now select the Solo Multi-Times Summary layout and have another look. So we see we have a time average still of 106% of course. But when we go further across, we can see that the time average for one staff member working on their own is 103%, which is less, and the multi-average is 121%, which is somewhat surprising. And we can see here that the others differences are the Solo maximum may go as much as 350% and the multi maximum is 333%. But there does seem to be something of a significant difference between the multi average and the overall average and the Solo average. We also see over here a click alert. And if we click on that, it takes us to a sub-screen which tells us the selected records include 199 that are not cleans. This may skew the results of analysis. It suggested the records be filtered to exclude these records. This is a reference to the fact that quite a number of these tasks, in fact 199 of them, are tasks where the time taken is the time taken. For example, in a spring clean. So we have a button here that says select cleans, and if we click on that, it selects just the cleans tasks. And we now see that our time average overall has risen slightly to 107%. Our Solo average has dropped to 104%, and our multi-staff average is 126%. And these are, as I said before, real records, and this is somewhat surprising and quite illuminating. And we can have a look down through each of the staff members, and we can then see who in particular, Catherine, who we looked at before, has an overall time average of 116, Solo average of 113, and a multi average of 147%. And if we want to restrict it to just some staff members, we can click on staff. It will take us to another screen where we will choose Alex and another new request. So Catherine. That finds us just the tasks for those two, and we could go back and look at them together as such. But to go back to all our staff members and click on sort to show them all. So that is our summary, and we can now go and look at a Solo multi-times detail, and that lists all the tasks one below the other. Again, we can see that we've got an alert, so we'll just select the cleans, and they're all listed one below the other. Or we can select a specific staff member or select more than one staff member. We'll select a specific staff member. We'll select Catherine again and look at her records. And we can see, compared to more than just one staff member, we can see that here we have a notional lost time factor of 10 minutes. This means in effect that if Catherine had done this task to the same degree of efficiency as working solo, the task would have taken 10 minutes less. And if we want to see who somebody was working with at any one time, we can click on Task Details and it will give us a screen showing who they were working with, and we can see on this occasion Catherine was working with Judith and the relevant details. And if we then exit preview mode, which had been selected to close up records, click there and we can go back and we can look through each of the records and see how she's done. Now, one of the virtues of this is to see who in particular can work well with others, and whether there are some combinations that there should not be, and it gives added information. It's not so much the questions that it answers, but the questions that it asks, which might be, should this staff member be working with that particular staff member? And one can then fine-tune the particular combinations of staff members.